African Union Chairperson Cyril Ramaphosa has condemned the coup in Mali. Now, in a strongly worded statement, he demands that the military release the president, prime minister, ministers and other government officials from detention. Ramaphosa is also calling for the immediate return to civil rule and for the military to go back to their barracks. Rebel soldiers armed themselves yesterday and detained President Ibrahim Keita, forcing him to resign on live television in the early hours of this morning. Now, this follows protests in recent months over corruption allegations and the jihadist insurgency that has left thousands dead. The military is facing widespread regional and international condemnation. Now, the soldiers who ousted Mali President Ibrahim Boubacar Keita say they plan to set up a civilian transitional government and hold new elections. For more on this, I'm joined now by our Africa analyst, Jean Boissa. Jean, good evening and thank you for your time. What has the president said as far as the reason for resigning and what are the soldiers saying?
Well, good evening, Tabu. What would we say about Africa? It's a story that is repeating itself, and it is very sad for our African leaders that do not actually understand the aspirations of their people. So, to say the least, that the President Ibrahim Boubacar Keita has done was mainly to resign or to dissolve the parliament today was too late. I think there's a point of time where all these leaders in Africa need to reflect upon themselves and understand what are the needs of their population, what are the needs of the citizens, what are the needs of the army. Because we must understand in terms of Mali that there are several underlying situations at play. For instance, you've got divisions in terms of the religions. You've got the Christians and you've got the Muslims. You have terrorists, you have extremists, and all this is not easy to handle if there's no dialogue, a true dialogue between all the populations.
Talk to us about what led to this coup after President Ibrahim Boubacar Keita was re-elected for a second term in 2018.
Well, the elections in Africa are always a contentious issue, not necessarily in Africa, all over the world, because we need to redefine a new way of our African democracies, because it is always in the model of Caucasian electoral processes, which does not necessarily take into consideration the mosaic of the populations and the various people that we have in a country. And for me, it is critical as an African to understand that, for instance, when you have a country that has got 200 different tribes, they will generally elect a person not because of ideas, but they're going to elect a person because he comes from the same tribe, the same province, the same region. And this will normally bring the anger and the disenchantment of some of the other people. So for me, democracy is not yet as standing in Africa as anywhere else in the world. Even in the rest of the world, democracy is a problem.
This is not the first military takeover in the sub-Saharan poor country. What are the people saying? Are they satisfied? Are they relieved, the Malian people, after hearing that the president has resigned?
Well, I think the people are not happy because, besides those that are contesting the president, Ibrahim Boubacar Keita, there are those who support him that mainly come from his side of the province. So those that are of the same religion with him. So what is important here is to look for the aspiration of the people and see what do the Malian people actually want for their country, what is their collective destiny. So it is very important that the African Union, I do not believe into the African Union, What are they going to bring on the table when we know that in so many countries in Africa we still have the same problems where people are not understanding each other, and it is always that they come too late to resolve the issues. So for me, it is critical that Malian people, the army, and other civil society come together on board, resolve and make peace as they did. The army, first of all, did the same 2 or 3 some times ago when they seized power and they released it to the civilians. So they might do it in the same way for another 6 or 7 years, and let's see if there would be liberty for the people, because what is important are the civilians. They must not die for nothing for their power and egos.
Will the coup fix anything in your view? What's your analysis?
The coup will not fix anything, because as far as the people are divided, I'm repeating this, as Africans and black people, we are divided. We are divided due to colonization that is still very much in our psyche. We are divided because of our tribal divisions. We are divided because of all the ills in the society, let's say poverty, let's say hunger, and today COVID-19 hasn't helped because most of the economies are suffering. So I don't think that the coup is going to bring something new, but it will further deepen the divide into the society.
Foreign interference or foreign intervention somewhat in this coup, is there a hand of some other countries internationally who, of course, are trying to deal with the security issues that are happening in Mali and have been trying to get into that space?
I do think, Tabu, that it is very important that we stop this attitude of ours as Africans to always point fingers. I said it some time ago. When most of the countries in Africa have reached their 60 years of independence, we are adults enough to walk and make a choice of our identity, of who we want to become, who we would like to have as form of our government, our leadership, our economy, rather than say it is because of the foreign involvement in our politics, the foreign involvement in our economics, the foreign involvement in our society. Because, for instance, when somebody goes and chooses his wife, when there's a problem, how do you solve the problem? Do you go outside your household to solve the problem, or do you solve the problem internally? So let's stop this scapegoating of the foreign involvement, but let's ourselves look inward and say, what are our issues? What are the causes? Why are we here? And how do we solve so that tomorrow we don't fall into the same trap? And that is exactly, in my view, these questions that Frantz Fanon was asking, questions at that time that are so relevant today when people are asking between the subject, the government, they need to step, the Malian people or any other African country. We all need to stand onto our feet and fold our hands and find a way to resolve our situation and our crisis so that the people live better in Africa.
Jean Boas, I appreciate your time, Africa analyst, for us there tonight, explaining the situation in Mali tonight.